Hello everyone, it's me Varus, and in this video I'll be giving you an update on the tropics as we got some new news. Tropical storm Humberto has formed and some more updates on Invest 94L, future Imelda, and I'll be giving you a US forecast today. If you do enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing with your friends. Let's get right into it. So first, right now I have pulled up is satellite imagery of Invest 94L. So this is a storm that we're still watching. Again, I'll try to note some of these land features. Here's the Dominican Republic, Haiti over here, and more notably Puerto Rico right here. This is Invest 94L once again, so this is not Humberto. This is the one that has a higher chance of impacting the mainland US down the line. Not saying it will, but out of those two storms, out of this and Humberto, this has a better chance. So, compared to last video or yesterday, it looks way better, okay? Yesterday it was very elongated. The circulation was exposed. I mean, there was like no outflow. It was very, you could say, there was way more like convection on the eastern side than there was on the western side, if you remember. Now, since that, this convection has fired up and constantly been moving south closer to the center. Also been firing out some pretty like notable and good outflow out on the north side. And even on the south side, it's fanning out just a bit. And now it's more, you could say, intact. Still a little disorganized, but definitely way better looking than yesterday. Not only because you got the low starting to get tucked underneath, somewhere in there, but what you also have is some very cold cloud tops, pink cloud tops, firing up along the storm, keeping it kind of more balanced. Okay, it's still getting sheared and blasted with a little bit of shear and dry air, but besides that, I mean, it's going to continue getting into a better environment. We'll see if it becomes some sort of depression before it gets onto the Dominican Republic, because it is expected to do that in the next 24 hours or so. If it does become a depression before, that'll be could lean towards on the stronger side of ensemble members. If not, then more expected. But the Dominican Republic does have some high mountains, and so if it does stay weaker and goes over, it'll temporarily halt, maybe even cause the storm to get shredded a little. But once it's off that, it's off. So we'll have to watch. But this definitely could be, and likely will be, Tropical Storm Imelda sometime, and possibly Hurricane Imelda sometime in the future. Let's get to our name storm, Tropical Storm Humberto. Also pretty good looking for what it is. Like, it's a tropical storm, still pretty good looking. This is the fanning out of Invest 94L right here. So if you saw my other videos too, they're pretty close in proximity, and they're going to keep influencing each other, especially once 94L starts to kind of strengthen more. So, got the lows somewhere tucked in through here. Really nice outflow on all sides of this storm. Also, some really nice cloud tops as well. Got another cloud tower firing up on the south side. This is going to continue to strengthen most likely, and is going to continue to move generally northwest, and then it should make a turn out to sea. We're going to keep watching. A 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm. Again, good convection, good outflow, breathing pretty well. It does look a little bit sheared and elongated, kind of lopsided. Not lopsided, but like elongated like this. Not like a solid mass, I guess you could say that. Like, there's more convection, for example, on the northeastern side than on the southwestern side. But obviously with like this convection that's trying to form, trying to see some attempts of reorganization. So those are our two Atlantic systems. So here it is on the National Hurricane Center. You do have Tropical Storm Narda out in the Pacific, but here we can quickly go to Narda. Expected just to head generally west into here, and then maybe might turn back. But by that time, it should be extra tropical. But could become a major hurricane later on. We're still watching it. Back to Atlantic. Let's start with Gabrielle. This storm is actually going to affect land, not just a little fish storm. Currently jetting eastward right now. Maybe it's like east-northeast, like somewhere in this direction, arguably. Okay. And these are the Azores Islands right here. Doesn't get hurricanes that often, but Gabrielle will be a hurricane by the time it reaches. Really weak one, but will be there. And then once it passes that, could weaken a tropical storm. probably become extra tropical, but could also bring impact to Spain and Portugal later down the road. So we're watching that too. Gabrielle moving really, really fast, 29 miles per hour, moving westerly. Tropical storm Humberto, here it is as of 5 p.m., 40 miles per hour, 1,008 millibar central pressure, moving west-northwest at 15 miles per hour. You can zoom closer in, so likely moving like this, but it should recorrect to a more northwesterly position later on, and it'll consistently get closer and closer to the coast, but it will find a weakness and should steer out this way, unless, again, some interaction happens with future Imelda as well. But that's what we're watching right now. So that's tropical storm Humberto. Definitely could be a threat for Bermuda. And then here's disturbance 1 as of 8 p.m. 40% to develop in the next 48 hours. 80% in the next 7 days. So pretty good chances. We're still watching this storm and expected to slow down, turn northwesterly. And once the storm especially gets into the Bahamas, that's when it's game on. Okay, so once the storm, even in less than 24 hours past the Dominican Republic, we should really see more development in this area. It is pretty favorable. Right now in semi-conducive environment. Once it gets here, I'd almost argue just conducive. So we're going to watch it, and there's multiple scenarios, okay, with Humberto. Again, I'm not really focusing on the tropics today, but, or not Humberto, sorry, I keep confusing. Imelda, future Imelda, 94L. It could either go out to sea, okay, as it Fujiwaras with Humberto. It could get guided into the East Coast, Carolinas, wherever, because of an upper level trough that guides it this way, and a high pressure, weak high pressure that helps to aid in that if it gets trapped, or, which is also possible, or it could sneak into the Gulf, which is the least likely, I'd say. Okay, it's either southeast or out to sea, and I'd say it's a 50-50 right now, honestly. And again, since we have Humberto here and they're so close in proximity, they could have complications. Like some models wants to bring it into the southeast coast, and then Humberto will pass along, and that'll cause it to sling back out. And once Humberto races off, Imelda slings back into the east coast. So it's going to be very, it could get very wild. So we're going to keep watching Imelda, or 94L, future Imelda. I would argue becomes a depression probably by sometime this weekend, or sometime by the end of this week. Maybe tomorrow, definitely Friday. So here's the European model. We're going to start with the U.S. forecast. Okay, so we're just going to go all the way out 260 or 360 hours out. And so, yeah. So right now we have a bunch of activity through the east. Kind of quiet in the west for now. This east has been causing some severe weather and will continue to cause some severe weather throughout the rest of this week, especially for the mid-Atlantic, northeast. You could see that showing up on radar. This is by Thursday, late Thursday and Friday. Maybe some severe weather for the southeast. Once that disturbance gets out the way, here's Imelda and Humberto, 94L and Humberto, so we're watching those two. You'll see the Euro do some wonky stuff. And so, besides that, really quiet. Ridge of high pressure does build over the central U.S., which is also going to be causing impacts for the tropics. Okay, so that does cause quiet weather overall. And so Humberto heads out to sea, and this is one of the weird solutions where I know we're talking about the U.S. right now, but again, very quiet west. Pacific Northwest experiences some showers, mountain snows. You can see Humberto heads out. Imelda gets tugged, but then gets lost in the grip. Ridge of high pressure right here builds really strong. I mean, that's 1034. You can see how packed these isobars are. That forces Imelda west. No matter how strong Imelda gets, it forces it west. Okay, inches west, and then right as it gets along the eastern seaboard, mid-Atlantic, gets guided back off a trough, but it basically trough boat just rides it. Okay, but besides that, good. And then you see that 540 line. Winter's coming. Little clipper system up for Canada over there. So, but generally quiet in the U.S. for now. Besides tropics, except for the end of this week, could get some. It will be beneficial rain for the eastern seaboard, and then just light disturbances through the west and central U.S. Temperatures. Okay, let's talk about temperatures. So it has been really warm in the east and humid as well. It's been like humid now than all of September in some portions of the east. Okay, we're gonna have this little cool blast. Okay, but overall it's just heat everywhere. Okay, from the west coast, east coast, maybe the south gets a little cooler than average. Okay, Now, this cool blast will be affected by the tropics as well, but either way, could get pulled down briefly at the start of October. But what you do see is a negative PNA setting up, and so that should retrograde this heat back eastwards and should cause it to be really warm for the eastern 2/3 of the U.S. Okay, but even that negative PNA barely lasts, and then you see it just warm every hour, and then at the end of the run, you see, okay, here we come with the cold fronts, and we're watching one right there. And we'll see if that materializes. Again, 360 hours out, October 9th. Nothing set in stone, but something to watch. Okay, CPC, Climate Prediction Center, one of the most accurate things you can look at. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, usually look at 6 to 10 day, but want to go a little longer range. This is valid October 2nd to 8th. And again, they also agree with the Euro, the idea that it's just hot. Like, it's just above average. Sorry, I keep saying hot, but just above average temperatures. Doesn't mean it'll be hot everywhere, but it'll be above average for the entire U.S. Okay, now I will tease the 3 to 4 week outlook, which shows the cooler blast kind of returning for the central U.S., even in the eastern U.S. And you see warmer air building in the west could be indicative of a positive PNA, which could lead to a negative EPO or negative WPO, West Pacific Oscillation. And that could cause cooling in the central U.S. and maybe eventually eastern U.S. This is far out, but the CPC has been pretty consistent with that. 8 to 14 day precipitation, above average in the southeast and kind of portions of the southern mid-Atlantic, possibly due to the tropics. Who knows? This October 2nd to 8th, below average for kind of like the southwest into the northeast, and then above average / near normal for the northwestern portion of the U.S., northern plains, western U.S., even portion of the southwest U.S. So that's about it. Just wanted to squeeze out a quick update on the tropics, some U.S. forecasts. We'll have a bigger video on the tropics and stuff later this week. I hope you did enjoy. Happy hump day, and here comes the weekend. Have a great rest of your